Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Saturday HOA Brunch, presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. Please sit back, relax, and join Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick for an hour of entertaining information about HOAs and HOA law.
Good morning, Sacramento. This is the Saturday HOA Brunch, and we're back. Aren't you excited to be back in studio after the 1 week sabbatical?
We are back. KTKZ, The Answer 1380, thank you for joining us. The Saturday HOA Brunch, the radio show, live radio show this week. What have we had? We've only had 2 shows that are not live, right?
I think there was 2 shows that weren't live, and then we also had a portion of a show that was live until we had a tower issue.
They were all lively.
But we're back
All lively.
Live.
We're back this week.
Frank Jolly on the sticks, our engineer, always with these helpful comments. And, right, so our shows are about community associations, right, Jonathan?
Anything and everything you need to know about community associations. We sling it to you here in the studios, literally.
Right, because you hurt your arm. So I'm Brad Epstein, Community Association attorney. With me, as always, is my co-host, Jonathan Broderick. And so we've talked about all kinds of different things, but we've never talked about the topic we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, we were having a conversation last week, and we were, I think, riding around heading to a meeting or something, and I said, man, I'm starting to feel old. And you said, you know what, Jonathan? Next time on the show, let's talk about where you can live when you get older. Right?
Yeah.
And that's a over 55 community.
Right, and it could be over 62-year-old community. So there's different ones, but the threshold is over 55-year-old communities. So senior citizen communities, senior citizen associations, a.k.a. senior communities, a.k.a. active adult communities, and the federal law. So they're supposed, as typical with a lot of laws, especially with community associations, there's a state law that applies, and there's a federal law that applies, and it's kind of confusing. But in any event, probably the proper name is Senior Citizen Association or Senior Community rather than Active Adult Community. And I've always called them Active Adult Communities. I thought it was just a more appropriate name because I love representing senior citizen communities because the boards of directors, the committee members, the homeowners are so much more active and engaged than in most other communities for the simple fact
they have a lot more time on their hands.
They got a lot more time. And bless them, right? Good for them. Hopefully we will survive to that age, and hopefully we will. And don't say
I plan on it. I will.
I thought you were going to say, hey, you're already at that age. And and that we will have that much energy and interest. If you go to a senior citizen community, and when I mean go to, I mean visit, drive up to one, you're going to, in most cases, you're going to be able to tell, wow, these people care about their community. That is a characteristic that is clear.
You're looking at that iWatch. Does that mean that someone's sending you a question already about over 55 communities on your iPhone watch?
It is actually a communication, not about senior citizen associations, but about associations in general. Yeah, so I guess I'm not going to say this is our new text line, but I did get a text in about a question. We'll get to that later. And so we're going to talk about senior citizen associations and about the law and some really pointed questions that a lot of people have. And then we're going to get to our litigation moment, our Hugh Waverly litigation moment. We're going to have one of those as well. So it's going to be a fun show. No battle of the board members this week, though. We're not able to arrange that.
And we didn't want to compete with the opening weekend of NFL football. So college football's going on right now. There's just a lot of stuff going on. So take the week off from competition on the Saturday HOA Brunch.
I gotcha. Yeah, I like the U.S. Open tennis, but could never compete with the NFL, right, Jonathan?
No, I don't think so. Unless Trump bought it, tried to, like the AFL, get the joke.
Oh, back in the day, right? And that lawsuit, where
he won $1.
He won $1. Yeah. Yeah, interesting stuff, but not as interesting as our first question. What's our first question,
I think
John?
the first thing we need to identify is the Unruh Act.
Right.
Right? UNRUH, Unruh Act.
That's right, Jesse Unruh. So back in the day, Frank, I'll look this up later, but I'm thinking this was 72. I think you're right on the money. So what this is the Unruh Civil Rights Act. This is California Civil Code sections 51 through 51.3. Anyone who is interested in community association governance. And also, we got another thing that we're going to talk about.
Did you bring another old historical piece of literature like Rolf did?
2 weeks ago. This is actually a brand new magazine, September 2016, that is entitled Community Next. And
get it out.
Well, look at the title. I can't tell.
Community Next 2020 and Beyond.
Okay.
Is that like a Star Trek comic book or something? What is that?
This is a Community Associations Institute
publication.
Little publication, right? Brand new, and it's envisioning the future of community association living, governance, and management. This is cool. It's going to talk about senior citizen associations, and we're going to talk about some of that too. So we have a lot to talk about, but first, as Jonathan, you said, what the heck is the Unruh Act?
The Unruh Act.
So this provides protections from discrimination by all business establishments in California. Again, what I was saying was anyone who's interested in governance of community associations should read the Unruh Act. It's a short read. It's only a couple of civil code sections. It's 51 through 51.3.
How many pages do you think?
It's just a couple of pages, really. There's a couple of pages.
I might put that on the calendar.
Yeah. Provides protection. So this Civil Rights Act, 1972, Jesse Unruh, provides protection from discrimination by all business establishments in California, including housing and public accommodations. Community associations have long ago been deemed to be controlled by the Unruh Act. California Civil Code Section 51B describes the protections found under the Unruh Civil Rights Act. All persons, within California are free and equal no matter what their sex, race, color, religion, ancestry, national origin, disability, or medical condition. They are entitled to the full and equal accommodations, advantages, facilities, privileges, or services in all business establishments of every kind whatsoever. That includes community associations. We are focusing on age. So, in particular, 51.3, and the next question is for $1,000.
For
Jonathan
$1,000.
Broderick, does Civil Code Section 51.3 allow community associations to discriminate on the basis of age? The answer is
no.
The answer is yes.
Oh, it does.
Yeah. All right, let's try that again. Does Civil Code Section 51.3 allow community associations to discriminate on the basis of age?
Yes.
The answer is absolutely, and that's what we're going to talk about. That is the core of our discussion today, and we're going to wind our way through that particular law, the Unruh Act, Civil Code Section 51.3. It is allowable discrimination on the basis of age. What other discrimination is allowed in the United States? What other types of discrimination? Affirmative action, right?
It's a big one.
That's the big one. So that's the other big one, federal law, and that one's been chipped away over the years. This one is not the same thing because this is a California law. It's statutory, and it just concerns age. So we have a lot of community associations that our law firm provides services to, right? And so you met a lot of them, and some of them have been on our show.
Oh, yeah, they're great guests, and they have a lot of knowledge, and I'm amazed that they've dedicated and committed 20, 25, 30 years as a volunteer in their community.
Sometimes because the age, minimum age to reside in the community association that is a senior citizen community is 55. So what we're seeing, and so that's number one. So there's a qualifying resident or senior citizen, whatever you want to call it. Senior citizen or qualifying resident means a person either 62 years of age or older or 55 years of age or older in a senior citizen housing development.
You hear that?
That means we're going on a break.
That does.
Don't
that
go
means...
away. We're going to go through this law. Of course, we're going to look at a brand new court case published in California, and we're going to look at this great the comments from this great magazine community next 2020 and beyond.
Excellent. Stay with us. Drive safe out there on the roads.
If your community association has a good relationship with their current management company, you can stop listening. However, if you are struggling with your current service provider, we'd love to talk with you to see if Omni Community Management would be a good fit. Transparency, education, communication, and trust are just 4 of the qualities that set Omni apart. This is Rolf Crocker, CEO of Omni. Call us at 916-965-8964. That's 916-965-8964. Online at omni-mgt.com. That's omni-mgt.com. Omni Community Management, your friend in the community association management industry for over 20 years.
Have you ever heard of the saying, a person's home is their castle? Of course you have. But sometimes a construction defect can turn your castle into a catastrophe. If this happens to you, you need proper and professional representation. You need Angius&Terry, LLP. For over 30 years, the attorneys at Angius&Terry have been effectively serving homeowners and community associations, recovering more than $500 million on behalf of their clients. Angius&Terry strives to ensure that your construction defect claims are prosecuted in an aggressive and cost-effective manner. Angius&Terry will also continue to work with homeowners and community associations after the construction defect claims are concluded to make sure that the money received from builders is spent wisely and that your interests are protected during the repair process. Don't let a construction defect turn your castle into a catastrophe. Call Angius&Terry LLP today at 916-567-1400. That's 916-567-1400. Online at angius-terry.com. Angius&Terry LLP. Professional Parking Enforcement, or PPE, was created to provide effective parking solutions for all types of parking issues. PPE focuses on parking problems of HOAs and can quickly eliminate these problems through their system of property inspection, violation updating, ticketing, and enforcement. Contact PPE today at 702-283-0628, online at ppenv.com. PPE, promoting harmony in HOAs through parking and compliance enforcement. We take time to understand your community's needs.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We solve small problems before they become big ones.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We help make your community a better place to live.
Silver Creek Association Management.
It's what we do, because an association is more than just a bunch of homes. It's a community of people. We work with you to make better communities so homeowners can enjoy better lives.
Silver Creek Association Management. Online at sc-manage.com. That's sc-manage.com.
This is AM 1380, The Answer.
Man, I like that. What is that? Transition back into this great show.
That's the Frank Jolly Band.
That's the Frank Jolly Band. But I don't think you want to do that. You want to let everyone know why over 55 communities are so great and talk about the dynamics.
And they're prolific too, so they are really being built all over the place. And in fact, we have a lot of community association board of directors who are interested in converting their standard community association into an over 55, into a senior citizen community. And so we'll talk about a little bit about that. One of the things that you would have to do in particular is, I believe, you would have to the transition. What are you going to do? Suddenly kick out everyone who's not 55? I don't think so.
That's going to be tough.
You'd have to grandfather.
I think what you'd have to do is first you'd kind of have to do a thorough analysis of the community and see what you were dealing with before you decided that you were going to overhaul all of your governing documents, right? And I mean, if you lived in a community that was next to a university and you have a lot of renters, I mean, come on, let's be real. If 40% of the community is college students, you're not going to have the over 55s be able to.
I concur. And actually,
say,
most community associations, senior citizen communities, are next to hospitals, big
or
hospitals,
golf courses,
or golf courses, or both. Right.
Yeah. So the question is now that we're going to answer And I think a lot of our listeners are super savvy, and they're going to just right away know the answer to this is, may a senior community discriminate on the basis of age?
And the answer is absolutely.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay, so.
And I've ran into this. Just a quick little story is, I'm on Zillow looking at homes. Like, oh, man, look at this one. Oh, wow, looks reasonable. Oh, looks like a really nice house. And then you scroll to the bottom on your smartphone, and it says, this is an over 55 community only. And then I throw the iPhone across the room and go, dang it.
Yeah, well, it must be mentioned that I do have not a lot, I have some occasions where people who are younger than 55 years of age will try to sneak in and purchase and live in a senior citizen community for the fact that they have such great amenities. They are close to hospitals, they are convenient, they're close to golf courses, they're clean, they're nice, they are crime-free, many of them are gated, and they are well kept. And so probably about 6 times a year as community association attorneys, we have to represent communities, senior citizen communities, to defend against these owners coming in. We have to actually get pretty aggressive because they will claim ignorance, but they will have to sell their home. They don't have to sell their home, they just can't live there. So that's the next question.
They can rent it out to someone that's over 55.
Right.
That's an option.
Right, because it's the issue is not whether you own it and you're less than 55, it's whether you reside in it and you're less than 55. But there are some exceptions to the rule. Right? What's our next question?
Our next question is, who other than persons 55 years of age may reside in a senior citizen association?
Okay,
now
so
this one might not be as easy.
Not as easy, in fact, because there was actually a change in this law about 8 years ago. And it's just not worded very well, this law. So there's something called a qualified permanent resident. So a person who is 62 years of age or older, and some associations are 55 years of age or older. In most associations, they're going to say, community associations that are for seniors, they're going to say 55 years of age. That's the cutoff, okay? And they're called qualifying resident. Well, there's another type of person who can be less than 55 years of age, and they are qualified permanent resident. It means a person who meets both of the following requirements: residing with the senior citizen prior to
they live with them.
They live with them. So they live with them before the person who's a senior citizen leaves because of death, hospitalization, or other prolonged absence, or a divorce, and they have to be either 55 years of age or older. So at least, what did I say, 55? 45. At least 45 years of age or older, or was a spouse, cohabitant, or person providing primary physical or economic support to that senior citizen. So let's break this down, because I have to discuss this at community associations, both standard and senior, to explain what this means. Your question is, Mr. Broderick?
I think you answered it.
Okay, so it's you're either 45 years of age of older, or you're married to, or a cohabitant, or you provide primary physical or economic support.
Yep.
So you could be any age.
Well, that's what you
almost
answered.
Any age. I mean, to be a spouse or cohabitant, you have to be over. To get married, right? You have to be over 18, right?
I think so. I'm pretty sure.
And to provide primary physical or economic support, you probably have to be over 16 years old.
Yeah. Well, you pretty much hit the nail on the head right there. That was my next question. Well, what happens if, say, you're 55 and you're married to a 45-year-old, and are you not allowed to live in that community? But obviously,
you can.
You can.
Right. So what if you're 55 years old and you're married to someone who is 21 years old? Well,
I'd put cameras on my house if they were my neighbor moving in. It'd be a little bit suspicious.
It's suspicious,
what's going on.
right? Right. Okay. But in that case, it is completely acceptable. And so that is probably the biggest confusion for owners residents, board members, managers of senior citizen communities, because the law says you either have to be 45 years of age or older to reside with a senior citizen in a senior citizen association, or you just have to be a spouse, cohabitant, or person providing.
What a bummer, though. I hope I'm not 45 and call up mom or dad and say, hey, you mind if I come reside with you in your over 55 community because I've met the minimum age right
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah. Well, okay, so now, in addition, in California, there are a lot of laws about disclosures when you buy a home, right?
I can't even imagine the pages and pages of documents.
Right. So many pages of documents in just buying a home. Now, in buying a home in a community association, add on a bunch of disclosures as well. Yeah. And plus, there is one more disclosure that owners must make when they are selling their home in a community association that is for senior citizens. And this one is in the Davis-Sterling Act. And Jonathan, what's the Davis-Sterling Act?
Davis-Sterling Act is the set of laws that directly apply to community associations, state laws. But it's for the state of California.
State of California, and it's a group of laws in the civil code that have to do with nothing but community associations. This one is at 4525, and
you know what page number that is? I'll thumb through mine real quick and catch up.
Well, in 2014, all the numbers were changed, so I couldn't tell you what page it's at. All right. Davis-Sterling Act, at section 4525, it requires senior community owners who have a different senior restriction than state law. So a lot of CC&Rs that are older have slightly different restrictions than state law, right? You'll have your CC&Rs that are, say, dated 1975.
What's the oldest set you've seen?
1949. Right? And you've seen them too. I've shown them to you.
Yeah, they were.
Right.
Oh, man.
All right. So you'll have a set of older CC&Rs that have age restrictions, and then you have state law. So what this law, the Davis-Sterling Act, provides is that those owners who are selling their homes in senior communities, they must disclose to prospective purchasers that their community's restrictions are enforceable only to the extent of state law. If you don't make this disclosure, Jonathan, what do you think will happen to you as an owner? You're selling your home in a senior citizen association. You don't make this disclosure that your restrictions in your CC&Rs, they're enforceable only to the extent of state law. What if you don't make it? What is going to happen to you? Do you go to jail?
I think it's going to be a very, very expensive lesson.
It's $500.
That's it, the fine.
$500. It could be a civil penalty if there's a lawsuit by the prospective purchaser. In addition, the prospective purchaser could also
back out.
Rescission, right? So there are other remedies in a lawsuit if, in fact, you were not given the proper disclosure. You would have to prove you were harmed in some way. You might have the ability to get rescission on a purchase or monetary damages. Those are probably the two main ones. So good one. Yeah, you nailed that one on the head. As you would put it, rescission means that you get a court order to go ahead and back out of the deal, just like you said, back out of the deal.
Use precision so you don't have rescission, right, in your sale? Is that what you're saying?
That's you're smiling. You like that one. Use precision in your disclosures. Most disclosures in community associations are done not actually by a purchaser handing them off by the owner to the purchaser, right? It's through escrow and title companies. And the community association management, most community associations, especially senior citizen communities, have professional management. I always advocate for professional management for community associations because I've seen how effective really good professional managers are. It is different than when I first started in the industry 20 years ago.
Makes a huge difference.
Huge difference with all the different disclosure requirements, in addition to all the other things that community associations must do, board of directors must do to comply with laws, and just to run their communities in a efficient, effective manner. It does take professional management, in my opinion. There we are. Okay,
That's
we're working our way
sign.
through.
We're just getting acclimated to being back in these beautiful studios after the week-long vacation. When we come back from the break, what do you want to cover?
All right, we're going to go ahead. I think
you
we should jump in.
decide.
Let's jump into this great magazine from the Community Association Institute.
Well, I can't wait to have our listeners help us read through this magazine. We'll be back.
Having trouble understanding your community association's reserve study? Does your HOA's reserve study seem to be written in a strange language? Hi, I'm Robert Browning, owner of the Browning Reserve Group. At the Browning Reserve Group, we have been providing easy-to-understand reserve studies since 1999. We actually listen to our communities and help them plan for the future. Find us online at browningrg.com. That's browningrg.com, or toll free at 877-708-0600. That's 877-708-0600. Clarity from complexity, the Browning Reserve Group.
If you are a community association or manager, you know your banking relationship is vital to your success. At Sacramento Bank of Commerce, a division of Redding Bank of Commerce, our industry expertise and personal attention make that task a breeze. With our specialized banking, lockbox, online banking, and remote deposit capture, trips to the bank are no longer necessary. And Sacramento Bank of Commerce can help your communities with a loan to repair, replace, or upgrade the investment. For local decisions and in-house processing, get in touch with our team today. Call Sacramento Bank of Commerce at 916-772-0131. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Did you see the story about the Homeowners Association? I wonder what their residents think.
I don't know, but I love my condominium association. The place looks great and is well managed, and our property values are increasing.
Well, that's a good thing.
Community Associations Institute, CAI, has helped us build a great community. They have tools for safeguarding our investment, including education for our board and professional training for our manager. Just visit CAI at responsiblecommunities.com.
Okay, responsiblecommunities.com.
This is AM 1380, The Answer.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. And now your hosts, Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380, The Answer.
Man, I barely made it back. First, we go to break. Frank comes in here, tells me about this big, new, fancy, expensive mic. And I'm talking completely in opposite directions of where I should be, the head placement and everything. And then I run down the hall to get some water to rinse out my raspy voice from hanging out at the dirt track. And whew, I almost was late for the third quarter of the Saturday
But you
HOA
weren't.
Brunch.
You're right on time.
Right on time. Well, you got that magazine out.
Okay, so again, this is Community Associations Institute. If you are involved in your community association as a board member, community committee member, or manager, or in any way, this is the organization you want to belong to. It's really inexpensive. Community Associations Institute. Go right online.
All kinds of events.
All kinds
that
of
you can
events.
attend.
In fact, next Thursday, there's going to be a great speaker at the luncheon for the Northern California chapter.
Yeah, Thursday, September 15th.
And where is it?
11:30.
Yeah.
It's right down here off of Tribute at the old Courtyard Marriott.
Okay, so great speaker is going to be there, which is me. Okay, Community Next 2020 and Beyond. And it's just different ideas in this magazine about the future of community associations. And as you
like hoverboards and drones, or what is it?
It is actually not that specific because it is nationwide. But you're right, drones and all that stuff is important. Marijuana growing and all the problems it creates, drones and all the problems it creates. And this one is adapting to changing demographics. And of course, an aging population will bring several key developments to community associations. And this is what I didn't know. I did not know that there is a term called NORCs. N-O-R-C.
Guys are a bunch of narcs.
N-O-R-C.
Norc.
NORCs, not narcs. Frank on the sticks. Okay. It is naturally occurring retirement communities, NORCs. And so I had to look that up and figure out what that was.
Are you saying there's more older people than younger?
Right. So in the 80s, this term was coined, naturally occurring retirement communities, NORCs, in New York, because what they were finding out there was that there were some communities which were becoming populated by persons who were elderly. And it was just naturally occurring, as they would say. So this fellow, he coined this word, NORCs, naturally occurring retirement communities. And so many associations are evolving, like we talked about in the first half of our show. And that is, board members are coming to us and they're asking us, hey, can you go ahead and assist us in converting our association to an elderly community, to a actual senior citizen community per federal and state laws? And what board members are coming to me and asking about are, how can we give more services to our community members in our senior citizen communities? This is a big issue.
More services.
More services.
Like what? Paddleball courts and
swimming pools? How about this? Aging in place. So the Community Association Institute Northern Chapter had a evening presentation about 2 months ago, where one of our good board members was discussing this, and they have discussed it with me, and that is, how are we going to have our community associations give services to meet the needs of older residents? And so now we have a couple other acronyms, ADLs. These needs may include the activities of daily living, which are self-care, like eating, bathing, and dressing, okay?
Yeah.
And
well, because, I mean, they're looking for solutions so that they don't have to necessarily transition into an expensive assisted care living?
I think you're right on the money.
Because, I mean, where's that article? I wish I had it in front of me, that this lady just continuously books cruises because it's cheaper for her per day to eat and get attention on a cruise line than it is for her to live in an assisted living community.
So she books
cruises, baby.
Cruises.
That's it.
Right,
Buffets,
you mentioned
beaches,
this.
And yeah, so she said for her to live,
as long as you don't get seasick.
Apparently, it sounds like she's got the sea legs she needs to see the world via cruise liners. But yeah, they said it was, the numbers were crazy when they analyzed. I got to try to find that.
Very
article.
expensive.
Yeah,
yes.
very expensive to live in
sure.
like a assisted living.
For sure. So it's good to know these acronyms because you could be in the know. NORCs, naturally occurring retirement communities, and ADLs, activities of daily living. And also ADLs require IADLs, which are the instrumental activities of daily living, like managing finances, preparing meals, and providing transportation. So many of the larger community associations for seniors, they do have IADLs. They certainly do not have ADLs. They do not have activities to assist the community members in meeting their daily living goals. And the other issue, so this is a predictive and estimating publication, and it's excellent. It is. I agree with it wholeheartedly because as I drive down the freeway, I do see a lot of senior citizen communities. Aging in place is by far the preference. I think that is clear. Those who are aging, they want to age in place. And so managers and community association professionals, vendors, attorneys, accountants, they need to prepare their association clients for the accelerated changes in these NORCs, in these naturally occurring retirement communities. It is something that is happening because the millennials, which they're called, right? Are you a millennial? You're
I
almost.
think so.
You're almost.
Yeah, I think I am.
Okay,
Frank's going like this, putting his thumb down. Did I miss it? I missed the cut.
No, you're not, because you were
I don't
born,
know if that. I think maybe that's a good thing then.
You have to be born in the 21st century. Frank Jolly, he says jokes in our ears that we cannot say on the air. Okay, millennials, they will have a profound influence on the housing market in general.
I think I'm a millennial now that I think about it.
You're not. And in roughly 15 years,
I'm gonna look this
the
up.
millennials will be 33 to 49 years old and in need of housing. And millennials, they grew up during the recession. They lived through the instability, housing market collapse. And so many of them are thinking, I'm not going to buy, I'm going to rent. So the millennials are going to have an effect on the seniors, on the NORCs, on the naturally occurring retirement communities.
Real quick.
So the definition here on Google for millennial.
This is important.
This is very important to me because I need to be able to maybe add this to my LinkedIn page, or possibly if someone asks me, I want to know the answer. And I'll get your opinion here. It says a millennial is a person reaching young adulthood around the year 2000. So if I was a junior in high school in the year 2000, I feel like that's a young adult.
Repeat for me, please.
A person reaching young adulthood around the year 2000.
Okay, I thought it was someone who had to be born in the 21st century.
No. Thanks, Google.
Thank you, Frank.
Another joke. We appreciate that.
Okay, so let's go to our next question.
All right. Next question, which we are getting to here.
May a disabled person?
May a disabled person who is not a senior citizen reside at a senior citizen community?
All right, this one's super important. May a disabled person who's not a senior citizen reside. So that means young people who are disabled, right? Who are disabled. And a disabled person that is broadly defined. Broadly defined. And the answer is yes. It's yes. And if they are a child or a grandchild of the senior citizen or the qualified permanent resident. So follow the bouncing ball. You have the senior citizen who is married to the 21-year-old, right? Our example. And they live in a senior citizen community, and they have a child. They have a child.
The story just keeps getting creepier and creepier.
They have a child who is unfortunately disabled.
And then I'm the neighbor looking at this great old man and his daughter and his grandchild. And they're going, no, this is my wife and my...
Right. How is this a senior citizen community if there are children living there? That's the point of this. And this is in the same law, Civil Code Section 51.3. I encourage everyone who lives in a senior citizen community to read Civil Code Section 51.3. And it provides that, yes, indeed, a child could live in a senior citizen community.
If it was a direct...
If they're disabled.
Or if they're disabled.
Child or grandchild.
Right. And the child could live there too.
Exactly. That's the point. The child of the child?
No. What I'm saying, though, the child of the 55-year-old and 20-year-old couple.
That's it. Who's disabled. Exactly. Now, we have qualified permanent resident could also be not just a spouse or cohabitant, but also a person providing primary physical or economic support.
Ooh.
So this really stretches it. So now, let's look at our example. We have the 60-year-old who's married to the 21-year-old, and
now it's 60.
Permitted.
I was at like 50.
No, I wanted to make it better.
Okay, all right.
And they have a child, and the child is disabled, and
even if they have a child and the child isn't disabled, isn't the child still going to be able to live there?
What a great question. The answer is no.
All right, we're going to ship them off
to
boarding
they have to
school.
Move out.
Really?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Right?
Yeah, I guess.
This is a senior citizen community. This isn't a community for children unless they're disabled. Now let's take our 60-year-old resident in our senior citizen community, and let's say that there is a person providing primary physical or economic support to them. Okay, so that is a 20-year-old, and that 20-year-old has a disabled child as well. So that disabled child can live there as well. All right, ready for another break?
Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this, but when we come back from the break, we're going to kind of wrap it up with the over 55 community topic. So stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Some that just happened that has explained why survival food is literally flying off the shelves and has sold out in many areas of the country. It caught me totally by surprise, and it involves FEMA. Revealing FEMA's plot could land me in hot water, but I think you deserve to know exactly what they're doing. I just created a free video presentation at FEMA8.com that exposes the truth. Be warned, it's really disturbing because the fact is, FEMA must know something we don't. Go to FEMA8.com to see the #1 item to hoard and why supplies of this critical item are so low or even completely sold out already at many stores across America. Watch the controversial video that thousands of other smart patriots have already seen in recent days. Go to FEMA8.com and discover the #1 item most critical in a crisis. Go watch my video now at FEMA8.com before they force me to shut it down. Again, that's FEMA8.com.
Hi, I'm Morgan Fussell. My company, Broadband Agreements, negotiates cable television and broadband right of entry, access, and compensation agreements for your communities. At Broadband Agreements, we offer a free review of all agreements with a signed letter of authorization. Broadband Agreements will improve your community's income and/or savings, or you don't pay us a dime. Visit us at broadbandagreements.com. That's broadbandagreements.com. Or call me, Morgan Fussell, directly at 916-939-5026. That's 916-939-5026. Broadband Agreements online at broadbandagreements.com or 916-939-5026.
The challenges presented by today's economy and rebounding housing market is forcing many homeowners association boards of directors to operate their HOAs more like a business. It's a balancing act of trying to stay solvent and still provide homeowners with quality amenities and services. One of the main challenges HOA boards are facing is attempting to recover unpaid HOA fees owed by delinquent homeowners. Collection efforts are often very time-consuming. If you want to get the HOA fees collection monkey off of your back, call ATC Assessment Collection Group. ATC is an attorney-supervised collection company providing collection and foreclosure services to HOAs in both California and Nevada's most recognizable communities. Get back to what you actually volunteered to do as an HOA board member. Effectively oversee your community. Call ATC today at 916-641-1410. That's 916-641-1410. Online at atcacg.com. That's atcacg.com. ATC Assessment Collection Group. Professional Parking Enforcement, or PPE, was created to provide effective parking solutions for all types of parking issues. PPE focuses on parking problems of HOAs and can quickly eliminate these problems through their system of property inspection, violation updating, ticketing, and enforcement. Contact PPE today at 702-283-0628, online at ppenv.com. PPE, promoting harmony in HOAs through parking and compliance enforcement. We take time to understand your community's needs.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We solve small problems before they become big ones.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We help make your community a better place to live.
Silver Creek Association Management.
It's what we do, because an association is more than just a bunch of homes. It's a community of people. We work with you to make better communities so homeowners can enjoy better lives.
Silver Creek Association Management. Online at sc-manage.com. That's sc-manage.com.
News, opinion, insight. AM 1380. The Answer.
Can't even hear it. Can you hear the comeback music?
I
It's
can.
like really low. What is that, Frank? What are you playing? What track do you got on?
That's Ray Charles, What I Say.
Ray Charles, What I Say, but you can't hear. No, now we can.
No, this
coming
song
back strong.
This song breaks it loud later on.
Well, we're talking over 55 communities. And a lot of people that live in over 55 communities are probably familiar with that.
Oh, this is a great
Transition
song.
back from break.
Yeah, one of the best
What
songs.
year did that come out, Frank?
66?
1959.
59.
1959.
Wow. 1959.
All right. Well, at least we've got a theme.
It's time for our...
Oh, you wanted to, Hugh Waverly litigation moment.
Our Hugh Waverly litigation moment. This is a brand new case, June 21st, 2016.
Fresh
Off the grill. And why are these cases important? Because there are very few published California court cases about community associations. There's just a couple a year, and this is one of them. And why are these cases so important? Because they're published in California. It's because they interpret the law. They tell us really what the law means, because they have these statutes in the Davis-Sterling Act, and it's hard to really figure out what it means. And so this really gives guidance to those who manage or govern or live in community associations. Palm Springs Villas.
Oh, Southern California.
Another Southern California case. Palm Springs Villas 2 Homeowner Association, Inc. v. Parth. And the main point of this case is a director cannot close his eyes to what is going on about him in the conduct of the business of the association and have it said that he is exercising business judgment. Directors cannot close their eyes about them when they do their business and say, hey, I was exercising business judgment, because the business judgment rule protects associations, but not when they close their eyes. The facts are as follows. A condominium association sued a former board president for breach of fiduciary duty. The trial court ruled in favor of the former president.
Wow.
It reasoned that there was no way it could be reasonably argued that the former president was in breach of their fiduciary duty. The association appealed. During the case, at the president's deposition, the association's counsel asked the president if she had investigated whether a roofer at controversy was licensed. The president answered, I did not investigate anything. I did not investigate anything. The board hired the roofer to work on a time and materials basis. Is that a good idea? You're a contractor.
I don't think. No, I don't have a contractor's license, but I don't think time and material would be this is going to take me 4 years.
A board member said that the roofer never met with the board or submitted a bid for the work before he started work on the roof. In fact, the association had no records of a written contract with the roofer.
Was the roofer getting paid, though?
Let's find out.
Yeah.
The association paid the roofer more than $1.19 million for the work.
Hey, that's a good time and material job for a one-man roofing guy, huh?
Yeah. Many of the checks were signed by the former board president. A board member testified that no invoices from the roofer were included in the monthly board packets. The association's contracting expert opined that the roofer charged the association almost double what the work should have cost. The expert also opined that the work performed by the roofer was deficient, fell far below the standard of care, and required significant repairs.
And I am only going to imagine that he didn't have enough insurance for the repairs.
That we don't
They don't know that.
We don't know.
Okay.
The appellate court reversed the trial court. So remember, the trial court ruled that the association could not sue, did not have a case against the board president. Because of those facts, the appellate court reversed the trial court, which is rare to reverse just based on facts, and ruled that the association could proceed against the former board president. It reasoned that it could be reasonably argued whether the president exercised reasonable diligence under the business judgment rule when she investigated and paid the roofer.
The old BJR, business judgment rule.
Right. Notwithstanding the deference to a director's business judgment rule, the business judgment rule does not immunize a director from liability in the case of her abdication of corporate responsibility. You can't just abdicate them. When courts say that they will not interfere in matters of business judgment, it is presupposed that judgment, that is reasonable diligence, has in fact been exercised. In sum, a director cannot close his eyes to what's going on about him in the conduct of the business of the association and have it said that he is exercising business judgment. So this is another case that is similar in the last 10 years that provides that the business judgment rule doesn't protect board members who completely don't make a decision, who completely abdicate, who completely close their eyes. All right, one other thing I wanted to hit on is this one question. Jonathan, question to you, the singer of the day.
Oh, boy.
Can a senior citizen association restrict use of their amenities by age? Can they say, no kids in the pool?
Absolutely.
Great job, Jonathan. Great job. Yes, that's right. The whole point of senior citizen communities. Yes, they can. Senior citizen communities can restrict use of their amenities by age.
Thanks for
listeners.
listening.